Anyway, so the big news today was that Ukraine carried out one of its biggest ever drone attacks on Russia. And I know this because last night I was talking to someone who watches the news and was telling me, how Russia's weapons suck and everything they have is from World War II, and our drones and our weapons and all the things that we're giving Ukraine are really going to put the screws to Putin. And I don't believe that. I'm not saying that Putin's going to win, or I don't know what the outcome is actually going to be when this is all said and done. But what I do know is that none of the stuff that is running on these outlets, CNN, MSNBC, Fox, is worth taking serious, because between these stories, they're running ads for Lockheed Martin and Raytheon and all the contractors that make cash from let's call them extended United States military excursions. So let's read into what CNN has to say here, and then we'll get into a little bit more of the details. So Ukraine launched one of its biggest ever drone attacks on Russia over the weekend, hitting a refinery and power station deep inside the country, according to videos posted on social media and geolocated by CNN. Geolocate, wow. CNN, look at you with that technology. The short videos show plumes of smoke rising from targets in Moscow and the neighboring Tver region. The Russian Defense Ministry acknowledged the size of the Ukrainian attack, but downplayed its effectiveness, saying Sunday that 158 Ukrainian unmanned aerial vehicles were destroyed and intercepted by on-duty air defense overnight in 15 regions, including over the capital. So, Moscow Mayor Sergei Sobyanin, forgive me, Russian speakers, I know there's a lot of you in my audience, wink, wink, said 2 drones were shot down in the area of the Moscow oil refinery. No casualties were reported, but the second downed drone damaged a technical building of the refinery and caused a fire, which the mayor, had said had been localized and did not affect the plant's operation. The Tver region's governor, Igor Rudenya, said on social media that a fire caused by the drone attack on the Konakovo district has been extinguished and that gas and electricity services to the area were operating normally. The Ukrainian drone strikes follow others in the past week, including one Thursday that set fire to oil reservoirs at a refinery in the Rostov region of Russia, according to the Ukrainian Defense Ministry. Now, that line right there is, of course, the clincher, according to the Ukraine Defense Ministry. Now, what you have to keep in mind, if you're paying attention and you're not a complete simp, is that these guys want more money. So they have a vested interest in making it look as if they have, achieved some kind of a success to some degree. So, of course, me being the, internet gumshoe that I am, I wanted to see what people were saying on Twitter, because Twitter typically has real news in comparison to the mouthpiece or megaphone of the state that we refer to now as the corporate media or the legacy media. The stuff that's kind of that old people and people who really don't want to think about what's going on watch and just kind of passively absorb. So here's what this account, Shay Bose, had to say about what's going on right now in the Ukraine-Russian war. And what he had to say was, as the Kursk misadventure fails, Russian forces have smashed through long-held Ukrainian deterrence in the east. Towns and villages fortified since 2014 are being taken on a daily basis. Kursk could, as predicted, for Zelensky. So here's this is the map that the other side is kind of showing that's happening right now. So I don't know how legitimate this is. Again, this could be quote unquote Russian propaganda, but it's definitely interesting to hear both sides of the story. So let's go to the comments here, see what some of these people are saying. The situation in eastern Ukraine is complex. Russian forces' gains don't necessarily mean an end for Zelensky. Ukraine's military strategy and political leadership will be crucial in responding to these challenges. I don't know what that is. Zelensky pushed to punch above his weight by Washington never made any sense. The left and fake news, Ukraine are winning. See, now, as much as I hate to call them the left, I don't think that guy is. And here's what the Russia is only advancing into areas that have already been flattened by artillery. What's the point? Okay. This is an interesting comment because if the areas have already been flattened by artillery, they're moving into them because the areas were flattened by their artillery. I don't know what kind of cope that is. It's over. Time for the comedian to exit stage left. If Ukraine's invasion of Russia's Kursk Oblast was a diversion, it has failed. So that's from Forbes. I don't know how legitimate that is, but this guy doesn't look like the type to spend the time photoshopping that. So Kursk is turning into a complete and utter disaster. Soon the forces will be derouted, killed, captured, equipment destroyed, handed over. Many of them may be crack troops to the extent that Ukraine has such a thing, meaning UK, US trained. Meanwhile, Russia advances. So what I was talking to my esteemed cohort about last night, who was bragging about, all the drones that we have and that Ukraine's using to beat Russia, is eventually it's going to get to a point where Ukraine's going to run out of people. And then what? Do they engage U.S. forces at that point? NATO maybe. And there's already reports that there are people fighting, NATO forces and U.S. forces fighting there now. I don't know how legitimate those are, but I have to expect that they're a lot more legitimate than what we're seeing on CNN here, because these guys are just going to cape for war no matter what. So that's the update on the Ukraine, the U.S.'s current forever war. And I mean, I'm pretty sure we still have people in Afghanistan to some degree. I know we still have people in Iraq and Syria. And I just don't understand how people who have watched this dynamic unfold over the last 20 years still have faith that this is, fool me once, spy on me, fool me twice, can't get fooled again, as George W. Bush would say.